ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, Richard, Grannon and Friends. I'm joined here today by Amira from Empowered Fit Gym in the Wirral. We're at Jacob's new, lovely Liverpool podcast studios. If you're going to do a podcast in Liverpool or the Wirral, make sure it's at Liverpool Podcast Studios. Amira, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start at the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from the Wirral.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I mean,
Wolves. Yeah.
yeah, I'm from the Wirral, half Lebanese.
Yeah.
That's where the name's from.
Right.
That's, pretty much it.
So your name is Amira.
Yeah.
Which means
Princess. How did you know?
Amazing. Arabic, do you know what I mean? Do you speak Arabic?
A little bit. My grandparents can only speak Arabic, so I had to learn like the basics, like hello, how are you?
Yeah.
But I can't really, I'm not very good.
You can't fluently
Not
converse.
really.
Whereabouts in the world are you from?
Heswell.
Are you from Heswell?
Yeah.
Oh, not just a wool, but a posh wool. Fucking hell. Let me sit up straight here. Heswell, Lower Heswell.
No, Barnston Ways.
Okay. Still pretty posh though, isn't it? So you were born here, and then you've lived your whole life in the world.
I used to live in Bahrain for a little bit.
What age were you when you were living in Bahrain?
2,
So you don't
3.
really remember?
No, not really.
No.
I know it was nice,
Yeah.
but we didn't live there for that long. We came back.
And you were living here. What age did you find yourself start to get into training?
I think I was just about to turn 18.
Okay. Right. Let me just adjust my mic because I've got a feeling there's something that happened there. So between the ages of 10 and 18, was there anything in particular that led you to start going to the gym? Because I know you from the gym. I think mainly because we tend to keep the same sort of training cycles. I would see you in there at the same time. And then a few times when I went in randomly, you were in there again.
I'd still be there.
And I was like, this girl's as fucking mad as I am. She's in here all the time. So obviously you're very, very committed to your training. And I always think with the psychology background, when people travel, the further away in the world they go, the worse their childhood home was.
Oh, God.
And the longer they're training in the gym for, the worse the childhood trauma is. So was there anything that, because you're not just casually training at the gym, I know you're a PT, so you do have to train hard, but it feels to me like something you're kind of compelled to do. Is that fair?
Yeah, completely.
Okay.
If I didn't go to the gym, I don't know what to do with myself.
Right.
It's crazy. I base my whole day around the gym.
Right.
It's crazy.
That's your motivator. That's what you look forward
Yeah.
to. So what was it, do you think, that led you to the point where you became so gym focused?
I get quite obsessed, and especially, all my life I've, not in a vain way, but I've been quite obsessed with, appearances because I've been quite insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And starting the gym, it sort of led me down that path of wanting to be so dedicated, wanting to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I just have that commitment to want to train hard, look certain ways, and it just went from there, really.
Well, there's you're still young, and you're 21, right?
Yeah.
And obviously in adolescence for women from the age of 11, really, a lot is based on appearance, isn't it? Not saying that the Northwest is a uniquely vain place, but it is quite appearance focused here as well.
Completely. And I think social media has a lot to answer for that as well.
Yeah. So at some point, you started to look at your appearance more and more, and then you wanted to control it.
Yeah. I've been like that since I was very young. I started the eating disorder developed when I was about 12, 13.
The eating disorder?
So, yeah. So
what was the eating disorder?
Anorexia.
Okay.
So that's sort of when I was started high school. And then I I didn't really get over it, but after a while it sort of stemmed into the gym. Instead of wanting to be skinny, it sort of went into being wanting to be muscly.
So by the age of 12, did you ever get diagnosed with anorexia? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mum didn't really like the label because there was a lot of other stuff as well as the eating disorder. But it was just like a downward spiral when I went to high school, really.
So you switched from school to the high school, and then once you were in that environment, which high school was it that you went to?
West Kirby.
Mm-hmm. And there was something about that environment that triggered several issues at the same time.
Yeah, a lot.
What do you think the environment was giving you as a signal that triggered these responses?
Well, I wasn't in primary school. I was sort of like hung around with the popular kids. And, you know, there's not a lot of people in high school. So when you're in year 6, you know, like you're a big fish and everyone looks up to you. You're year 6. But when you go to high school and you're year 7 and you see all these gorgeous girls who are like sixth form and they look amazing, I think you realise you're a small fish in a big pond. And it was so intimidating to see all these, because it was an all-girls school. So I think it just, going from being one of the popular kids to being like a nobody in high school sort of triggered that, like insecurity, I think.
Do you know what year it would have been that you went into high school? Let's see, it's got to be 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
2012, I guess.
2012, I think it was, yeah.
So in 2012, you went into the high school and you could see older girls, lots of girls around you, but particularly older girls who were, in your eyes, much more attractive than you were.
Yeah. I was quite shy as well, so I think that didn't help being in a big school, trying to make new friends and being completely alone.
Right. So you didn't really know anybody in the school either?
I mean, I knew a few of the girls who joined that school with me, but I wasn't very good at making friends. So they were like, you know, going out to socialise, making new friends. And I was sort of like the shy kid in the background, like didn't really know like how to make friends. So that probably didn't help as well.
Still fairly shy now?
A little bit. I mean, if you know me, I'm not as shy, but I keep myself to myself until I sort of like suss you out and I can get a feel for who you are.
Would you say you're more introvert or extrovert?
Definitely introvert. I like being alone.
Okay.
When I'm around people, it like drains me.
Okay.
I need like time to recharge.
That's the true definition. Like people get stuck on this idea that it's shyness versus loudness, but introversion, extroversion is, I always say to people, like the original meaning was if you recharge when you're on your own and are exhausted with people, that's an introvert. The extrovert's the other way around.
Oh yeah, I'm not that at all.
Okay. So you're suddenly in this, I wouldn't say sexualized environment, but I'm trying to like imagine what it was like for you as a 12-year-old. You're in a much more competitive environment. The competition in the hierarchy is based on looks. It's not really sexualized, but it's sort of that way. Like girls are seeking to be sexually attractive.
Yeah, like look pretty, you know, put makeup on, and I never even touched makeup. And you saw these girls with, you know, eyelashes, long hair, like nails, and I was like, oh my God, do I need to do that?
Yeah.
So that's when, you know, I was like, oh, maybe I need to put makeup on, look like X, Y, Z, and that's when it went downhill.
There's studies on this in psychology. Instagram is really, really bad for girls' psychology. The worst age group, the most vulnerable age group is girls aged between 12 and 14.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. And they said that particularly what would happen is if a 14-year-old girl sees a more attractive older girl, she's initially happy and she likes the picture. But then they said they would track it for the 4 minutes afterwards and her state would go down and she'd kind of hit like a mini depression.
Because you compare yourself to them and you're like, why don't I look like that?
Okay.
And then you want to look like that. So you go like do different things to go about that. But there's no like end goal. Like there's a lot of people who are going to be prettier than you. And that's why it's toxic, because you're never going to get to a place where you're like, oh, okay, I'm happy, I'm pretty. Because there's no end to that.
It's like an unwinnable game.
Exactly. Like perfection doesn't exist. So if you're trying to be perfect, you're never going to be happy.
So you said at the age of 12 there was diagnosed anorexia, presumably because you were just massively restricting your calorie intake.
Yeah. I was like starving myself for a while. And I think honestly I did want to look a certain way and, you know, I wanted to be skinny and fit in. But I think a lot of it came down to like control, because nothing was really in my control in school. You know, I couldn't control, like, it was a very academic school, you know, it's science, maths, and I wasn't like that at all. So going to this big school where I knew no one and all these girls were like looking like pretty, everything was sort of out of my control. And I think what you put into your body is sort of one of the only things you can control, especially when you're that young. So I think as well as wanting to look different and like look skinny, it was also a control thing as well.
Okay. You said there were other mental health issues that kicked off around the same time as being as that. Do you mind talking about that?
Like depression, I think self-harm was quite like sort of came hand in hand, like depression, self-harm, anorexia, it all sort of like came at the same time.
And did the self-harm tends to go in cycles, right?
Yeah.
There was a payoff to the self-harm. It must have worked in inverted commas.
Oh yeah. It was like any like coping mechanism really. Like at the time it helps you. It's the adrenaline, isn't it? You feel sort of numb and you do that to like help yourself. But then after you sort of crash and the adrenaline wears off and you're sort of in that spiral, you're in the state of, oh my God, what have I just done? Like you think about the day after, if you're in PE with all these girls and they're looking at you and you're like, oh my God, it's like the shame kicks in then. So for a split, like 5 minutes, you'd feel better. But after that, you'd feel even worse.
How many years was that going on for, the self-harm?
I only really stopped about 1 or 2 years ago. So quite a while. I mean, it was on and off. I mean, it was constant till about I left school, so sixth form. And then it was sort of, maybe like once a week. And then it sort of only really stopped about last year.
Do you know what triggers the desire to self-harm in you?
Just sort of when I can't control my own emotions and I feel like the control thing, when I feel like out of control and don't know what to do with all this anger, this sadness, that's the only thing that sort of like helped. Some people use alcohol to help themselves. Some people smoke, some people do drugs, loads of stuff. And that was sort of my escape, I think, because it did help at the time. And
there was no other self-destructive behaviours, no?
I got into the sort of drinking, drugs. I mean, nothing too crazy, but it was like sort of going out to sort of like numb you, to help yourself, make yourself feel better. And that was when I was quite young as well, like 15, going out too young. That's why I don't do it now, because I did it and I don't regret it, but it was just sort of an escape, a way to escape, rather than I didn't actually enjoy it.
And you were escaping these emotions, these feelings that you couldn't deal with?
Yeah, I mean, when you sit with those emotions, I mean, like suicidal thoughts as well came up, and it's like, I don't actually really want to die. I just want those thoughts to stop. And there's no other way to do that unless you like numb yourself by drink, drug, self-harm and all like the unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Was self-hatred a factor in this?
Oh yeah, completely. Like it was insecurity. I hate everything about myself. There was nothing I could tell you that I actually liked about myself. It was just like sort of like I look in the mirror and I'd feel disgusted. It was intense.
So you feel like you feel like, that's not very good English, but thank you, Jacob. You felt like you didn't deserve food, you didn't deserve care, you deserved to be caught and to be hurt.
Yeah, just like punished almost. Like you look fat, so you're not allowed food for like a week, and it just spirals then, because if you starve yourself for like a day, you're like, oh, well, I can try another day, and then another day, and then obviously you're exhausted. Then your body is just crashing, and you feel even worse because you've got no energy. You're angry, you're snappy. Again, it just spirals.
The anorexia, what sort of age did that stop?
The thing is, it did stop, but it sort of, I mean, it didn't really stop. It just sort of stemmed into the gym, because when I got into the gym, I was still starving myself. And I started the gym when I was about 18, and I got a PT to get into the gym, and I was still starving myself. But I think when you get into the gym, you realise you can't actually do that, because I was at the point where I was literally going to like pass out. Do you know, I like literally faint. So
I'll do a leg workout on 500 calories.
Oh my
and a bit
God,
of tissue paper.
Not good. Recipe for disaster. But that's when I realised like, okay, I actually do need to eat if I want to continue my life in the gym.
Yeah.
So, I started to reintroduce food. I mean, it wasn't good food. It was, like salads. But it was something, do you know what I mean? And then that sort of gradually...
Here is a girl saying that salads are not good food. Please note, please note, ladies and gentlemen, salad, not food.
They don't fill you up. I mean, there's like no calories in them. That's why I ate them, because it was like 50 calories in a like lettuce.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not really gonna do anything energy-wise for you.
It's not going to do anything at all, really.
Well, exactly.
So, what what was the lowest weight that you got down to?
5 stone. And that was when it was like bad.
Do you know what that is in kilos?
Ooh. Put me on the spot there.
You're working in proper British things that we have a lot of Americans watching. 5 stone and a pebble. What?
31.8.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're 5'5", 5'6"?
5'6".
5'6"?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you hospitalized or?
I was never hospitalized. I mean, again, my mum never really thought I had an issue. Because I mean, in the old generation, skinny was like in. Skinny was like really sexy, and that was their thing. So me being skinny to my mum, she was like, "Oh, that's fine."
She didn't at any point go, maybe that's a little.
I mean, even now she says, "Oh, I didn't realize you were that ill." Looking back at photos, because
Oh, I saw some of your photos on
Instagram.
Like,
I mean, I'm like, Mum, really?
You can see that it's not.
Yeah, I was like withering away.
There's a level on the leg where you see so much bone and stuff.
Oh yeah, it was a thigh gap. Like
the thigh gap is.
Oh my god, it was
giveaway.
Scary looking at them.
But in her generation, yes, they would use cigarettes and amphetamines and just stay
skinny, pale. That was like in.
Oh, so healthy. Those were the days. So, do you feel like the anorexia is past, or is it still?
It's hard to say because I catch myself now doing similar things I used to when I was anorexic, but it's more for the gym. So like now I'm starting to try and like lose a bit of body fat, to go on holiday, like most people would, But if I'm hungry, I'm like, I can't eat. And so I'll have like a black coffee to suppress my appetite. And that's what I used to do when I was like anorexic, because it's an appetite suppressant.
Yeah.
So you don't feel, gives you energy, you don't feel hungry. And
you can snort a line of coke and slap yourself as well. You just say bad over again.
So some stuff I catch myself doing, I'm like, oh God, I did that years ago.
Yeah.
And it is quite unhealthy.
Definitely. You then put on weight. You got yourself to a healthy weight from 30. So 5 stone, and then what weight did you get yourself up to when you were training? And
I mean, now
muscle?
I'm like 10 stone, so I've literally doubled myself.
Yeah.
But obviously that's over like a long period of time.
How long did that take?
So I started training about 4 years ago. So I'd say maybe like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've noticed, I don't know how healthy it will turn out to be ultimately, but there is also a trend now, isn't there, where if you put on some muscle, you put on some size and you're eating, it's considered a good thing. Yeah. It's not like in your mother's generation where that just, there was absolutely no space for that. So that seems to be a good thing. You're aware of something called orthorexia as well?
Yes, that's a newish thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think the fitness industry, like it did take off, I think, around COVID, because everyone wanted to, get into good shape. There was nothing really to do in COVID. So everyone was doing these home workouts, and that's when it sort of like
not everyone
took off. Well,
some people are eating pizza. I've seen some PTs coming back off COVID and I've gone, for God's sake, what have you done?
And then that's when I think it sort of took off, because now the new thing, like in the old generation, the thing was like to be skinny, pale, collarbones, thigh gap. And now the end thing is, go to the gym, get a big bum, big legs for a girl. For guys, it's like big shoulders, abs, all of this. So it's sort of like the trend is changed, but how you go about it is still can be quite toxic. Because, I mean, it's all about balance, I think.
Yeah.
But for me, it's hard to get a balance because I'm very black and white. So I wanted to be skinny, I wanted the thigh gap, I wanted collarbones. Now I'm like, I want to be muscly, I want big legs, I want big shoulders. So they're just both quite extreme.
And do you have a sense of when it's enough? I mean, how do you measure that from a training point of view? I mean, do you do it by photos, or do you take measurements of yourself? Or
I do both.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, photos are very subjective in my eyes, because I can look at a photo of me and be like, oh, I look awful. But someone could look at that photo and be like, Amira, you look amazing. And it's like, I'm not going to believe that. But I do look back at photos from like a year ago and I'm like, okay, I've made a bit of progress. But I look at photos of me from like yesterday and I'd be like, oh, I've got so much more to go.
I'm smiling because of this thing with photos. I've got a really boss photo of me in Formentera from last year, but I have another photo on the same day where I'm in a different position and it literally looks like a different body.
It's crazy what lighting and posing can do.
Posing,
Oh my God.
Somebody caught me as I was coming out the water, and I must have been breathing in, and I turned that way, and I looked like a Greek god. And then she got another picture of me lying on the sunbed. It's just like I look like a duvet cover. But the ones that end up on Instagram will be the Greek god one.
Oh yeah,
it won't be the duvet cover one.
exactly.
And I think that messes with people's heads as well, doesn't it? Quite a lot.
Well, it's like people care about likes, don't they? So the photo that's going to get the most likes is the one where you look like a Greek goddess, whereas the other one that you know normal is people just like you want to look perfect, don't you? So you're going to post like the good photos.
And I think that's always been there in human psychology. We want the aspiration. We don't want normal. We want to aspire to some sort of otherworldly status. But there is the reason why I was asking you is if mainly from like a psychological health perspective, is there a point where you go, okay, like you're looking for back gains, you're looking for like a certain shape and size in your glutes, and where you could say, okay, I've hit it. Can you do that?
I mean, I have got to that point. I've set myself targets like, I want my glutes to be like 40 inches. I want to hit, 100 kg deadlift. And I'm at the point where I've done those things and I'm still not happy.
Okay.
So it's a never ending, like there's no end goal, I don't think, because you can say there is, but once you get there, you're going to want more. It's like when I was anorexic, I was like, I want to be 5 stone, 4 stone. And then you'd get to that and you'd be like, I want to lose more weight. Do you know what I mean? So you'd get to that goal and you'd still want more.
Okay.
Because I think it's to the perfectionism thing, isn't it? You want to be perfect, but perfect doesn't exist.
Perfectionism is an interesting one because with these conversations, this is the way the podcast has gone. We've ended up talking about body dysmorphia, as you know, with Emily, and through the conversation, it's not my specialty, but I'm thinking about it and I'll read like little bits of research on it. And I was like, it's fundamentally, it's body dysmorphia. So we don't really see ourselves as we are. We see ourselves based on a toxic self-image. But actually, I think one level above that is what you're talking about now, which is perfectionism. Yeah. Which I think would usually stem fundamentally from just not feeling good enough. Was that how you felt in childhood, just not feeling good enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to like your childhood, doesn't it? Like how your parents raised you. But I think when you come from a childhood of you haven't had that like love and support from your parents, you feel, well, if my parents didn't love me, like why should I love myself? Yeah. And I think that's where it came from. The insecurities come from because I never felt good enough. So I was like, maybe if I change my appearance, I might feel good enough. But I mean, it never helped, just made it worse.
The childhood environment you were raised in, was there any violence at all? There was
no violence, but it was just sort of that, like my dad was never really around. My mum was quite emotionally absent as well. So my mum was there, but I felt quite alone because I didn't really have that like parent figure to look up to almost. I just didn't really have anyone really. And I think that might be where the control thing comes in as well, because I couldn't control my mom, my childhood or anything. So I'm like, well, what can I control? Food, how I look, stuff like that.
That's really interesting. We were talking yesterday, wasn't it? I was telling you about the CPTSD thing. There's a really good book. I'll give you my copy of the book. At the end of it, a guy called Pete Walker, who specializes in CPTSD, he said the trauma responses at root, all of them are an effort to try and control love.
Okay.
Yeah, which was kind of weird for me. The first time I read that was about 6 years ago, and I was like, I don't really get that. I don't see how like self-harm or being a rageaholic or an alcoholic would be an effort to control love. But as you were talking, then I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's actually an effort, love in the psychological sense, attention, care, that kind of thing. So there wasn't violence, but there was neglect.
Yeah. I mean, my dad, I think I could say he's a narcissist. I know him pretty well. And
I swear to God, I thought you were going to say, I could say he's an arsehole. I really thought you were going to say he's an arsehole, and you went narcissist.
He's that as well.
Okay.
I mean, I hope he doesn't watch this, but
Only
he
joking,
is.
Dad.
So yeah, he wasn't very nice. Still not great. And my mum, had her own problems. Suffered with depression. Was close with my brother rather than me because I'm quite like my dad as well. So she's
not keen on your father.
Yeah, exactly. She hates him. They don't speak. Whereas she was a lot closer with my brother. So didn't really have a mum or dad, I guess. So yeah, just felt quite alone. I haven't really.
The reason why I bring that up is I think for people watching as well, there's this sense of like childhood abuse is, getting smacked around or having your fingernails pulled out or cigarettes put out on you. But if you're neglected, you're still getting the message you're not lovable. You're not worth time and attention. So they have this thing in psychoanalytic theory from Freud where you internalize the idea that you're a bad object as a child. You've got this sense of who you are and you go, well, I'm obviously not lovable because nobody loves me. Ergo, I'm a bad object. Therefore, I'll engage in self-harm or anorexia. And I never had anorexia, bulimia for a couple of years, which is rare in men. I mean, it's a rare.
What age?
17 to 20.
Wow.
Yeah, 17 to 20. But mainly that wasn't a control issue. That was a self-loathing issue.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just hated myself basically. And so I thought throwing up would be a good way to express that. And self-harm, I did, like some cutting, but then that developed outward into acting out and getting into fights and then letting people beat me up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let myself get punched in the face. Yeah. But that was, it's a different background. More, what happened in my background was more active. So people were actually doing something bad to me.
Yeah.
But it leaves you as a child in an adult body with the internalized view, I'm a bad object.
Yeah.
So you don't fight for yourself. You won't protect yourself. If the
you get walked all over.
You get walked all over. You get the codependency issues and all that. So in terms of your story, what was it that first attracted you to going into a gym? If you were anorexic and you were underweight and you were low energy, what made you think, oh, I'll go and smash the weights?
So I was going on a girls' holiday actually. I went to the all-girls school. So I think we were just about to leave sixth form and we all thought, let's go on a girls' holiday. And I was like, yeah, great idea. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to be in a bikini with all these gorgeous girls. And I feel like I look like a whale. Like, what am I going to do? So I was like, right, okay, let's get a personal trainer, get into the gym. So I got a personal trainer with the hopes of losing weight, even though I was like quite slim anyway.
Yeah.
But then the more I started to do these sessions, the more I started to really enjoy it, lifting weights, stuff like that. And
where were you doing your personal training at?
Where I work, actually.
Oh, okay.
So
with a girl or a boy?
Girl.
It's an all-girls gym you work
Yeah,
at.
yeah. So it felt good to go there because it was a private gym. So there's no one looking at me because I was still quite insecure then. And so I didn't really want to go to a big gym where like there's these scary men staring at you.
That's me.
So I started to really enjoy it. And then the more I enjoyed it, the more, like I said, I started to realise, actually, I can't be starving myself here.
Yeah.
I need to eat something so I can like do an hour in the gym and not pass out.
Right.
So I went on the girls' holiday and came back and I was like, actually, I want to keep at it.
Yeah.
And 4 years down the line, I'm still doing it.
You're still doing it. I noticed that you're a devotee of Mr. Bret Contreras.
I am, yes.
Do you know that he wasn't always the glute guy?
No?
No, he was like a strength and training coach. He used to write for T Nation. And I think it was like 2011, 2012. So I was reading his articles.
Okay.
And then he went, there's a gap in the market here.
Completely. There was no studies about glutes or anything.
And that's his main thing, right?
That's his niche, yeah. He invented the hip thrust. Do you know the hip thrusts?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. So he's the guy that actually invented it.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was fascinated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He came up with it in his garage.
Oh.
Because he said that there's no exercise really out there that targeted like mainly the glutes. I mean, everyone was doing squats and deadlifts, but they target a lot of other muscles as well. So he came up with the glute bridge hip thrust to mainly just target the glutes, and then wrote he's very like sciencey, so I find it fascinating, all the studies he does and things. And like you said, there was a target for it because no one else had looked into that area. Because I think as well, it's only mainly recently that having like big legs and a big bum has been a big thing, because I think it's like Kylie Jenner and that lot that started it with like BBLs.
What's a BBL?
Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, I see this stuff on Instagram and I'm like, I do not know what these kids are talking about. BBL? What is it? So a BBL is a Brazilian butt lift. Is that surgery?
Yes.
Weakness. Weak. You're all weak. Disgraceful.
So you see these girls with like the hourglass figures with the huge bums, but they've got like still quite slim legs. That's a BBL.
They're the liars.
Yeah. But you do, I think they take the fat, I'm not too sure, but they take the fat from your stomach and put it into your bum.
Okay.
And that's where the curviness comes from.
Okay.
So that's when people have been like, oh my God, I want a big bum now because Kylie Jenner has it.
Right.
But that's where I think the whole thing has come from recently.
Yeah.
So instead of getting surgery, he's been like, okay, well, what can we do in the gym so you can get it naturally?
Yeah.
And he came up with the hip thrust.
Okay. We're now entering the phase of the conversation where we're going to talk about bottoms. Which is I do this every podcast, don't I, Jacob?
I just Googled it and I don't know what I was expecting to see, but
BBL, you will see a lot of bottoms. I have seen it in Spain. Well, I know that in there's a few places where plastic surgery has just gone berserk. Iran.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Didn't know that.
Oh,
Really?
Iranian women
Oh God.
for plastic surgery. At the right time to invest in plastic surgeons was 10 years ago in Iran.
Wow.
It exploded.
I wonder why.
I can conjecture. I would only make Iranian women extremely angry. No, there's major. It's at the point. You studied psychology at A level.
Yeah.
I did it as a degree, and when you're in the education system, generally speaking, all of our training is sort of left leaning, and because it's left leaning, we're taught, oh, a child is born a blank slate, and genetics really don't have that big of a role, because you're not supposed to say genetics are a factor because it can lead to racism and blah blah blah. Fine. So I was like, everybody's a blank slate. Then my sister had 2 kids, and they popped out with completely different personalities.
Oh wow.
Completely. And I was like, this is bollocks. Genetics is a factor. I think there's something in certain areas of the world where I would go so far as say it. There will be cultural elements to this. Like people in the comments will say, oh, in Iran, women are only valued for their beauty, or there will be cultural pressure.
Okay.
But I do think there's a genetic component to this.
Really?
Yes. I dated 2 Iranian girls, and they were obsessed with how the shape of their faces.
Oh,
and
wow.
they wanted to change them. And I begged them not to. I like big noses on girls. And they both, after we split up, within 2 years, got the nose job and the boob job. And
Oh, wow.
Yep. Spain as well. It's terrible for it. Spain, Spanish women, there's just everywhere. And you do see these BBLs. I don't know what to call it. They're absurd looking.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you train, you're like, that bit there on your body does not match that. But there's no way
The legs don't match, do they?
The legs don't match.
Because if you go to the gym and you got a big bum, you have to have big legs as well. You can't have skinny legs and a big bum. So when you see BBLs, that is a dead giveaway. They have slim legs but a huge bum, and as well, the bum is like a sphere. Whereas most girls have hip dips. Do you know
what's a
the
hip
hip dips? So
I'm
it's
learning so much.
it's where there's a gap in the bone. So it's from like your hip to like there.
Yeah.
And then there's a gap in your hip.
Okay.
So it like dips where because there's nothing there.
Okay.
So
if it's natural, you should have a hip dip? Or?
Well, most people, unless it's genetics, I guess, but most girls do have hip dips.
You're not talking about the side of the glute now?
Yeah. The
side of the glute.
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
So it goes in.
Yeah, slightly. I mean, some is more noticeable than others. But girls who have BBLs don't have that. It's completely like curved.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's a dead giveaway as well.
It's like drawn like by a child. They'll just go,
Literally.
it's a circle. Your bottom is a circle. Yeah. Where if it's come from squatting, that part would be developed, and it would, a hip dip, as you say, that would keep it, you'd see something there.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. You'd
Yeah,
see something.
definitely.
Interesting. The desire, so in a way, I don't want to give people body dysmorphia issues, but I kind of think if there's going to be a tendency to do something, people are better off training and eating healthily than trying to starve themselves.
Yeah.
So I have been asked, why they're asking me, I don't know, by different girls, because I think they see me training and they just think I know everything. What can girls do to develop that part of their body? But this is a whole science, right?
Oh God, yeah.
This guy, Bret Contreras, he's developed a syllabus with scientific research for how, because it doesn't develop easily, does it? Your glutes don't develop easily.
It takes years. And that's what puts people off, I think.
Right.
Because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to lift heavy. They don't want to eat loads to get this bum, because it takes so much dedication and you do have to work hard. So if you see people with big bums and big legs in the gym, just know they've worked hard for
themselves.
that. Yeah.
They've murdered themselves. And the other thing is as far as like fat loss and weight loss goes, glutes are a massive muscle.
Yeah.
Not as big as your back, but they're pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And it means you're calorie expensive as well, doesn't it? Like if you walk around and you have a big, strong bum, you're going to burn more than you would otherwise.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things I want to ask you about this. First of all, what did you learn from Bret that you could impart to people if they do want that kind of an effect? What would your recommendation be?
God, there's so many things.
Is there?
He literally wrote a book that's like this thick just on glute exercises.
Would you do that as a niche? Would you train women in that niche and go?
Oh yeah, completely.
So if people wanted to contact you and be like, I want to know how to get better glutes, they could totally do that. Okay.
I mean, there's so many things, but I think the main thing is, for me, you have to work your glutes in two positions. So there's a lengthened position, which is like your glutes are stretched. So RDLs, deadlifts, squats.
Tell people what an RDL is.
Romanian deadlifts.
Okay. So not a full deadlift. It's just from the knees.
Yeah. So you don't go all the way to the floor. You go slightly just above the floor. So there's like constant tension on the glute. So that's working your glutes in a stretched position, whereas you have to work them in a stretched position and a shortened position. So the shortened position is hip thrusts, abduction exercises, anything where you're like like your glutes are like squeezed almost. Okay. So those two things are going to get your glutes like the full potential. You want to be doing both of those types of exercises.
And how many times a week are you doing your glutes?
See, I've always trained them 3 times a week, but I'm starting to realise that rest and recovery is a lot more important than people think. So I'm starting to think twice a week, really.
But isn't that a question of strength? Like, relatively speaking, if you've got very developed glutes, you now can lift a huge amount of weight.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also depends on how heavy and hard you're going in each session. Because obviously, if I go hard on a Monday and I've still got DOMs on like Thursday, you don't really want to be training them again.
Do you get DOMs on a Thursday from a Monday workout?
Sometimes. Honestly, some of my sessions...
I'm going to try glute workout with you, comrade. We will see. 4 days of ass pain?
It's hard.
Wow.
Like I'll get out of bed and I'll literally be falling out of bed. But you know,
what's wrong with you? My bum doesn't work anymore.
But it does depend on like how hard you train.
Okay. And to wit, with this, what's it called? A hip thrust.
Yep.
This is where they place a bar with a foam pad so it doesn't kill your hips, because otherwise it's extremely painful. And then you sit with it on you, and then you lift.
Thrust into the air, basically.
Thrust your hips upward. What is the heaviest weight you've done that with?
170 kilograms.
For how many reps?
10.
Horrifying. The most I've ever done is 100.
It's hard.
For about 8 reps, and I was weeping. Weeping in pain.
I woke up the next day with bruises on my hips.
Oh, did
it
you
was
really?
that bad, yeah.
The foam pad was just like, I'm not helping
didn't
you.
do anything,
It does
no.
nothing at this point. So that was the second part of my question is, obviously my background is martial arts first. And so there's a lot of stuff that we would do naturally that keeps your glutes going. And also, if you want to wrestle, if you want to kick, you have to have strong glutes.
Yeah.
So we're not really allowed to neglect them. Do you think men do generally neglect their glutes though?
Oh yeah. I rarely see lads in the gym training glutes specifically. Right. I mean, I barely see them train legs.
I did mine today, hashtag just saying.
But like for lads, like they train legs like once a month.
So, okay. So let's say this again. You don't see them doing glutes and you don't see them doing legs. Could you just look into that camera and say, I never see them doing legs?
All the gym bros are going to come for me, aren't they?
We never see y'all motherfuckers doing your fucking legs. Skinny motherfuckers.
Well, I see some. I can't generalize. I see some.
Yeah.
But like you never.
But you're not getting away with it, boys. You think you are because you look in the mirror and you go, "My biceps look good," but your spindly pins look like shite. I'm joking. You look great.
It's bicep day every day for them.
Every fucking day. Every day. So, I mean, this was obviously a leading question. I've seen in the gym that we go to, where you've got a lot of people training there, there's 3 lads who are regularly see training glutes.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 lads who you see. So, and we've got hundreds of lads who go to there, actually having leg days and training there.
Or training hard as well. That's one of them. You rarely see people train hard these days.
Yeah, humans generally. Like, and by the way, so if you wanted to know if somebody was training hard, how do you know whether somebody's training hard?
What their last few reps look like.
Okay.
Because if your last rep looks like your first rep, you've got 20 more reps in you at least.
So are you saying if somebody does this and then their last 2, they're like this, they might not be training hard?
No, definitely not. Like my last few reps, I am screaming for my life. I am like nearly on like death's door.
So I do it by the noises you're making and facial not the noises you're making, the noises one is making, and by facial expression.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I look like Stan Laurel on my last reps. I'm like that. Yeah. And I'm looking around and everybody's just like this, just totally normal. Calm and casual. They're not even breathing heavy. Like, what the fuck are you doing in here? There's no sweat, there's no gasping, there's no crying out in pain, and their faces are expressionless.
I think a lot of people just go for the social side of it, to be honest.
Which is fine.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not going to make gains if you're just there for half an hour and in and out and your last reps look normal. I want to see facial expressions. I want to see grunting. I want to see sweat.
Yeah.
I want to see tears.
Yeah, yeah. And that's just for your own personal pleasure. Exactly. That's nothing to do with training. That's just what you want to see. The other thing, now that we're being mean, is I've only seen guys doing this, and it's bad in our gym, that you get 4 lads training together and they'll set up an exercise to do it. They'll chat for half an hour. Each of them will give 2 goes of it. And then they'll go, should we go and do the other one now? I'm like, you've not even done this one. You've not done this exercise. God.
How people can train with 4 people in one exercise. I'm like, oh my God. I've been falling asleep.
It's pitiful. Well, I have my own opinions on this. Do you think lads should be training glutes?
Yeah, well, it's like the largest muscle in the body. I think.
It's definitely one of, right? It's got to be, right?
Definitely. And you know what? We're walking all the time.
Yeah.
So we are using our legs.
Yeah.
So why you want to train biceps 7 times a week? I've got no idea, because our legs need to be powerful.
Yes.
So it's really underrated for guys, especially.
In Chinese medicine, they equate different parts of your body to different elements of your personality, and they say, like, if your glutes get weak, your determination gets weak.
Wow.
You know, like you see in Chinese kung fu, they'll do the horse stance.
Yeah,
they'll do this thing. They're training their glutes, and it's train the legs, train your glutes. You have a stronger determination. If you let this get flabby, your whole will and I don't know, it could be true, it could be nonsense, but it's interesting, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
And you see, like, there is a determination and will factor inside of training itself, isn't there? You see some people training with no will.
Exactly. Well, if you see someone who's big, muscly, they've worked hard for that. So they haven't, like, there's no cheats for it, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you see someone muscle, they've dedicated a lot of their time to look like that.
Aesthetically, on a man, is that a part of the body that you would notice, as well as like shoulders and chest and stuff? Would you
legs?
Legs and
oh
glutes?
Yeah. Well, if they've got a big upper body and they've got no legs, I'm like, you look like a Dorito. Like.
On this podcast, we're here to give you body dysmorphia. Lad, you look like a fucking Dorito. Your spindly legs and your wide shoulders. I was in a gym in the Spanish are terrible for this. Sorry, going to slag off an entire nation now. Spanish men with their fucking plucked eyebrows. They only do shoulders, abs, and arms, and they strut around like this on literal spindles. And then they'll go and sit on a fitball and do cables like this. What are you doing?
They've got to match, do you know what I mean? You can't have your upper body looking huge and your legs looking like a stick.
Yeah.
It's got to be in moderation. Like it's got to be proportionate.
It's got to be proportionate. And generally speaking, it's healthier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If your glutes are weak, if your legs are weak, if you're top heavy, it's going to give you problems.
Exactly. Like surely doing arms every single day, you're going to get bored. Like at least change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I get bored of doing legs sometimes because I train 3 times a week. So I'm like, I actually enjoy doing upper body sometimes.
So with the, I saw a video of you were doing the leg extension
Yeah.
What weight do you usually do that with?
In empowered, there's 2. One of them I can full stack it and add plates.
And what's the most on a leg extension you've done?
What, like weight?
Yeah. With the full stack and the extra weights.
In that gym, I've done the full stack and then added 20 kg plate as well.
What's the full stack? Is it 120?
100, I think, yeah.
And 20, so you're 120 on your quads, and then how many are you repping that out for?
For leg extensions, try and do 15 to 20.
Just upsetting. I'm very happy if I get 6 reps on 80 kilograms. I'm like, yeah, I'm dead hard, mate.
That leg extension is brutal.
Yeah.
I pull some facial expressions on that machine.
Yes. Yes. So these are things that like it's taken you about 4 or 5 years to get strong on.
Yeah.
Psychologically speaking, it must be gratifying to know you are lifting heavy, and you're lifting heavier than most men can lift.
I'd like to think so. Sometimes it just boosts me ego a little bit to know that.
I assure you are lifting because I've watched. And this is it. How many times a week would you say you've been lifting for the last 5 years, do you think?
Well, I properly only really started training like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So the other 2 were just sort of getting to know the exercises, doing a bit like airy-fairy stuff. But I think I've tried to train at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
For that amount of time for like 4 years.
The thing I was going to ask you before, you have female clients, but you would train men as well.
I would train men. I don't think they'd be intimidated by me, but I think as a client, you go to a PT to sort of look like them. So, I mean, I went to my PT because I thought she was like gorgeous. I was like, I want to look like you. So I think if men wanted to be personal trained, they'd want to go to a lad with like, who's massive, because they'd be like, oh, I want to look like you. Whereas a lot of my clients, they're like, I want a big bum, I want big legs. So they're like, they come to me and they're like, I want legs like yours. I'm like, okay, we can do that.
And as far as that goes, do you think like men don't get training from female trainers as much because of like, do you think it's an ego thing or?
It could be. I mean, so many men in the gym that like sort of try and show off and they're like, oh, I'm a man. I need to lift more than you for a girl. So if they get PT'd by a female, I feel like they'll feel emasculated almost because it's like that alpha thing. They want to be like the alpha. So when a girl's in a position of power and they're like looking up to them, I feel like they might feel or look like they feel weak. But to me, I don't think that at all. I think they just let their egos get to them a lot.
It's interesting. One of the first people who trained me, I knew her from before, but she became a personal trainer and then actually became a competitive bodybuilder. And she was training me because she knew what she was doing and I didn't, and that was that was it. And I never, for me, it never really occurred to me. It was a total fitness actually when I was about 25. It was years later when I was training over in Malaysia, and then it clicked for me, and I was like, oh yeah, you never see lads, or very rarely do you see lads getting trained by female trainers, and then it clicked for me. It's like there's almost like a social hierarchy inside of the gym.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But in the martial arts background, you don't. Well, in good martial arts schools, you just don't have that.
Oh really?
Well, it shouldn't do. It should be whoever trains you is who's training you. Like when I had a grappling coach when I was 18. That was a woman. She was a judo black belt.
Okay.
She could absolutely fucking kick my ass. So I just had to do what she said. As far as the training goes, it's changing now. The culture is changing, but the old school way was whoever knows what to do, that's the person who should be training you.
Well, exactly. If they've got the knowledge and experience, why wouldn't you get trained by them, whether they're a girl or a guy?
So as far as like this skill, which is glute development, which is hard to do, as we've said. If it was a girl or a guy and they wanted that particular thing, you would be happy to train them.
Oh yeah, completely. Okay. I mean, I love all of that. Like I love big legs, big bum. And I feel like I've gone from, being a stick to, I mean, some days I am off days, but like I've got a lot of bigger legs than I used to. So I feel like, I know a little bit to be able to like help other people get to a similar position that I was in or I'm in now. So I enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? I like doing that.
You like
helping people.
You like helping people side of it, yeah. You said sometimes there are bad training sessions. How often do you get like a bad training session?
Honestly, it depends on the week. You know, with mental health as well, sometimes mental health has a big impact on my training because, I mean, I do try and use the gym as like fuel. You know, if I feel sad, I'll try and like let my sadness or anger out in my session. But sometimes it can get to the point where my emotions take over and, you know, if the weight feels heavy or, you know, last week the weight was fine and this week I can't lift that weight, I will literally cry.
Really?
It will get to the point where I'll have to take myself off to the bathroom and I will just cry.
Jesus Christ. Is that the emotion first or is it the physical state that you're in that triggers the emotion?
A bit of both, I think, because I get frustrated because I'm like, oh, well, I did this last week. Why can't I do it this week? But the thing is, in the gym, the progress isn't linear. And that's something I've really had to come to terms with. Like, it's like weight loss. You're going to have your ups and downs. And it's the same with strength training, bodybuilding. You're always going to have your bad days and you need to accept that. And that's something I just haven't really wanted to accept.
So how often is that happening for you where you go into the gym and you're lifting significantly less than you have before? Are there certain movements you're doing that on?
It's more of a recent thing because I've lowered my calories, you know, to drop a bit of body fat. And obviously, you know, when you're, exactly, yeah. When you're bulking, obviously your strength is going to go up because you've got more calories, you've got more energy, you feel like amazing. Whereas when you're in a deficit, you know, I love food. Like that's crazy to say now. But when you're in a deficit, you know, you don't have much energy, you're a bit tired, and that affects your training as well.
Let me give you some bodybuilding therapy right now. Are you saying that you're going into an energy deficit and then extremely angry with yourself that you're not hitting your PRs again?
Yeah.
Dude.
No. Even saying it, I'm like, oh my God, sort it out.
Like minus 20%. I mean, because you are doing, and you're talking about strength lifts here as well.
Yeah.
You're not talking about a bicep curl or a tricep or something, like a strength lift.
Yeah.
Are you walking into the gym hungry sometimes?
Oh yeah. I'm always hungry at this point.
If you're walking into the gym hungry, it's like minus 30%.
That's the thing.
I would say.
And I think it's hard because, you know, I'm trying to build, I'm trying to be strong. But when you emotionally attach yourself to your weight, like numbers in the gym, like your weights, like what I can deadlift, what I can squat, stuff like that, when you don't hit those numbers, it really does take its toll. And that's why I'm trying to sort of take a step back and not attach myself to PRs. Because you're never going to have days where you get a personal record, are you?
My God, no. You just you're thinking like a power lifter, but on a bodybuilder's diet. I mean, yeah. No wonder you're crying. I'd be crying too. I'd be like, fucking hell, I'm so weak. I'm useless. Is this your first cut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I've come from like a slim background, my main goal has just been muscle gain.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm at the point now where I'm like, you know, I would like to compete in the future, maybe in a few years.
In stage, like
bodybuilding stuff, yeah. It wouldn't be for a while. But I think I'm trying to use this cut now to see, you know, what I look like, a bit leaner, see what the muscle definition. So I'm just trying to do it more that way because, like I said, it's my first cut.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just stick with it to see what I look like under this body fat.
Have you spoken to our mutual friend Tyler about this?
I have, yeah.
And has he told you what to expect in the gym? And
yeah, he's been very helpful.
Okay, good.
Very helpful because he's competed as well.
Yeah.
So it's he's extremely helpful talking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not definite. But if I got to like 80 years of age and I didn't compete, I think I'd be annoyed at myself.
Oh no, you should, and you're absolutely at the right age for it. And but this is bodybuilding therapy. I found my niche. You've got to get it into your head that like you shouldn't even be. I would even be saying don't do the same movements that you've hit a PR on because you will fucking torture yourself.
Yeah.
And or just do such a ridiculously different rep range that your mind doesn't even dare to say to you, we didn't do 120 kilograms this time. It's like, well, we're doing a different thing. Fuck off and leave me alone.
Well, that's why I said in a few years because I'm at a place now where I'm still very emotionally attached to the numbers, how I look. You know, I'm still very insecure, and most days wake up and I'm like, oh, you look awful.
Yeah.
So I think I need to get to a better place mentally to be able to, because, you know, you're on stage getting judged by other people.
Yeah.
So if I can't even accept myself and be happy with myself,
Yes.
and I'm going to get judged by people and they're probably going to say something I don't want to hear,
Yeah.
I would just be
Devoed.
a state. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much a psychological game, and you do have to have a really, really good relationship with yourself. What kind of a deficit do you know roughly what sort of a deficit you're going for?
I mean, each week it'll get a little bit lower. Like, I'm trying to do it more gradually than like really aggressive, because
what's your allowance at the moment?
2,000.
Okay.
So it's not even that low, really. But my bulk was like 3,000.
Okay. And when did you switch from the 3,000 to the 2?
It's still been gradual, but it's been over about 5 weeks now.
Okay.
So each week it'll just get a little bit lower
And
gradually.
now it's down to 2.
Yeah.
And then are you still going into the gym and doing like an hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah. So it's hard because halfway through my session, I'll be like, I'm so hungry.
Fucking dying here. I can see why you're crying.
Yeah.
Hungry, not hitting the fucking the numbers. Yeah, no, I would be extremely emotional under those conditions. The other thing is with I've only done it a couple of times. Not to compete. I did something called 75 hard. You have to train twice a day.
Oh, wow.
Every day, no breaks.
Oh my God.
For 75 days, and stick to a calorie deficit. And it's 1,000% mental. 1,000%. And you lose a lot of body fat doing that. But for 75 days, there are no hard training days.
Okay.
You can if you want to. It's not in the rules. These are my rules, because I did it twice. The first time around, I was getting into a really bad emotional state, because I like to go in the gym and smash it.
Exactly.
I like to train angry. Can't. You just have to be like, it's horrible, really. I always think the shift from the normal training routines, and even if you're doing strength training, powerlifting, to that sort of a bodybuilding where you're trying to do your fat cut, you have to be super patient and really picky about everything.
Yeah.
So you're picky about your food. You're precious about your food, and then you're precious about your sets.
Yeah.
I can only afford 3 of these at 70% of max, and you're not used to that.
No.
And that's where your pleasure is in being like, fuck, let's go. It's gone. You're just there with a straight face going, right, I guess I've finished my set.
That would take a lot of control.
It's
oh my
horrendous.
gosh.
It's horrendous. But after the consistency of it, you do get really amazing results.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you get good
If
results.
it pays off, then fair enough.
What point did you find out about borderline personality disorder?
Well, one of the first few sessions I went to her, I was like, you know, why are we doing this? And she was like, well, I think you've got this because you fall under, you know, I think there's certain categories you've got to meet, and there's like 5 of them, like 9, I think, isn't there? 9.
If you get 5 or 9, you get the
and she read me them all, and I was like, yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And the thing about labels is it depends on like the person, but I think if you have a label, you sort of want to like stick to it almost, and you do certain things to become that label.
Yes.
Whereas,
it's called looping.
yeah, and I think when I first found out about it, I was like, oh, well, I do this because I've got BPD.
Yeah.
And recently I've been like, well, I don't want to be that label. And when you hear you've got a personality disorder, like your personality is who you are. And I think it's really scary to have that label, because you're like, well, I'm going to be like this forever then.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like it makes you accept it. So you're like, oh, well, there's no point in getting better because this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that is what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You want to, you know, heal.
And did you read up about borderline personality disorder and how nasty and awful they are?
Yeah. Oh my God. And the fact that it falls into cluster B, which is the same as narcissism, I was like,
And psychopathy. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, oh my God. And then the drugs that they prescribe you as well, once the antidepressants don't work, is what are they called? Psychotics. Antipsychotics. And I was like, oh my God, am I crazy?
Yeah.
And that was when I was just terrified.
Did the antidepressants help?
No. I mean, I've been on loads of different ones, and they prescribed me when I was quite young as well. And then I went off them about 2 years ago because they just numbed me.
Yeah.
And everyone said that, like with me, I'm very extreme. I'm like, my emotions are either high or really, really low. Whereas with antidepressants, you just numb. You just feel like a zombie. And I was like, okay, I'm not at the point where, you know, I'm feeling really suicidal or really, really euphoric. But I'm at the point where I just can't feel anything. And I think it was like the lesser of two evils to just go off them, because I was like, yeah, okay, I might have some really bad lows, but I want to just live my life and feel those emotions, because that's what life's about.
Did the antipsychotics help?
I was never on them. They wanted me to go on them when I stopped antidepressants, and I just was because even the name is terrifying.
Yeah.
I was like, am I like...
You weren't having psychotic episodes?
No, because that's what you'd assume. You'd think, well, if I need to go on antipsychotics, I'm a psychopath. Like, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that is... Like, if I'm going to go off antidepressants, I do not want to go on something even more scarier. So I never went on them.
One of the things that we were talking about yesterday, which is worth putting in here because you are female. Mm-hmm. You're aware of that. It's not a crime. It will be soon. In fact, this will be cancelled because I said you're female. I'm male. Oh, God. And you're young, and you nearly got a BPD diagnosis, which means that there is a certain demographic that will listen. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I say it on my own, because I'm white and a middle-aged man, they will not. I don't think you have BPD. And I said this to you yesterday because it vectors in so closely with narcissism that you have to be entitled and exploitative to have BPD. But you're not entitled.
I found that so relieving when you said that.
It's one of the things that I go around saying, like, because I have 70% of my seminars is women, and of that 70%, 30 to 40% have received a BPD diagnosis, and I'm wow. It's insane. It's probably, this isn't just me saying it. There's a big movement against BPD within the psychiatry community. It's the most misdiagnosed personality disorder, because, as you just said, for people who don't know, BPD is a laundry list of equally weighted traits, which is insane on the face of it, that you and the therapist sort of figure out intersubjectively whether you have or not. And if you get 5 of the 9, then it's BPD, which includes things like a labile sense of self. Well,
most people have that.
Well, if you're an 18-year-old girl, which you were when you did the therapy, you have a labile sense of self. Of course you do. 18-year-old boys, it's the same. It's not as bad in boys, but it's still there. The self-harm, the interpersonal turbulence, all the rest of it. It's so easy to misdiagnose.
The list is like so general. Do you know what I mean? Most people can fit into a lot of those categories.
Absolutely.
So having that diagnosis is just like, nothing special really, because most people do those things or have those things.
The woman, the psychology professor who created the concept of CPTSD, Professor Judith Herman, she's campaigning to have BPD changed to being called emotional dysregulation disorder.
Okay.
Which I think would be closer to the truth.
Right.
Like, because if you, entitled and exploitative is what narcissists and psychopaths are. Unless you're doing a very good act, you don't seem very narcissistic to me.
No, I'd like to think I'm not. I mean, no. I know I'm not, because I always felt like I'm too nice, and I was like, let people take advantage of me, don't want to say no, like people pleaser. And narcissists just aren't like that at all. They're the complete opposite.
No, they're very predatory, and they take advantage of people and they exploit them.
Exactly.
And they do it knowingly. Mm-hmm. And they feel they have the right to, which is the thing with BPD. I was always like, let's make sense of this. To have to have borderline be meaningful in the cluster B, the client has to think that they have a right to hurt others because they're in pain. The narcissist thinks they have the right to hurt others because they're better than everybody else. The psychopath thinks they have the right to hurt others because they don't give a shit and they want what they want. So if that isn't there in you, where you're like, no, I have the right. I've suffered terribly. I've had eating disorders and I've self-harm. Therefore, I'm going to be a horrible bastard. That's just not there.
That wouldn't even cross my mind, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help people because I'd never want someone to be in a position that, like I was, and not have the help.
Yeah.
So I just, that even saying that, like, oh, I can hurt people because, I had a bad childhood. I'm just like, how does that make sense?
So that logic doesn't work for you.
No.
But it absolutely works for vulnerable narcissists and people with BPD.
It's quite scary hearing that, though.
Yeah.
Because they could do anything and justify it just by like, oh, well, I had a bad childhood. So, I killed this person because, I had a bad childhood. And like, oh my God.
They literally do that.
Wow.
They literally do that in interviews with the police after they've done it. They'll be like, yes, I killed them. But the reason is because my mother, I don't know, did this to me.
Oh my God.
And that's where, because the cluster B has more comorbidity than any other cluster. So they're very rarely where you'll find somebody who's just borderline. They'll probably be borderline and psychopathic or histrionic as well. Yeah, they're very rarely just one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the diagnoses, it's such a strange period in human history as far as psychology goes, where we are just dishing out this diagnosis, mainly to women.
Really? Is it more of a female?
Massively.
Wow.
Male BPDs. I've always said that if I saw a clinician in my late 20s, I would have been diagnosed as a male BPD. But because of the cultural filters that we use, men aren't typically given the diagnosis of BPD. They're typically given the diagnosis of narcissism. But not because of anything that's intrinsic to the client. It's the way it's expressed.
Okay.
So men rage out, women rage in.
Right.
I can go and get into a fight with the police, snort a few lines of coke,
Yeah.
drink some Smirnoff Ice, and go and have a fight with the police. You could, but you wouldn't be as successful in that as a strategy as other strategies like self-harm or pulling people into a relationship and then harming them emotionally. I can harm them physically.
Yeah.
So I would get the psychopathy or the narcissism diagnosis.
Oh, wow.
But the core issue is what we're calling borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
Fractured sense of self, emotional dysregulation. All of this, though, is really CPTSD.
Well, I didn't even know what that was until you told me yesterday.
Yeah.
Because you think of PTSD as like guys who go in the war and they get flashbacks to, you know, I don't know, whatever, like you see in films, don't you?
Yeah.
So that's what I think of. So when you said PTSD, I was like,
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. And it's the CPTSD is the unknown trigger to an unknown response. So you don't even know that you don't even know that you're triggered. You're just feeling random emotions.
Yeah.
Which is what you've been struggling with, right? Is random emotions just popping up that you can't control.
Yeah, like little things in life that would happen. I'd be like, oh my God, I'd go into like a meltdown. I'm like, am I crazy? Like, why am I so emotional?
Yes.
So when you said that, I was actually like, okay, maybe I'm not that crazy.
No. and the disorder side of the personality, when I'm talking to somebody who's personality disordered, and Jacob has filmed me talking to people in the seminars who are personality disordered, it's chaotic.
Oh, no.
The person doesn't really know. We've got footage of it. They don't really know what they're saying.
Really?
Or they'll just repeat themselves, or they'll make a statement and then you'll say, you just said this. And they'll go, no, I didn't. Right? Everybody in this room just heard you, and it's on film that you just, no, well, maybe I said that, but I didn't mean it.
Wow.
You're like, wow, I feel like I'm going crazy. It's, no, I think it's a much more useful way of looking at it because it means that we start to be able to drill down to like, there's a few things that you need to resolve and then you'll be okay. Whereas if it's BPD, as you just said, like, can you resolve that? Is it a lifelong issue?
Is that just me? Yeah.
Is that just who you are? But you've got the emotional dysregulation, that can be resolved. You've got toxic superego injunction. So the voice inside of your head that's telling you you're not good enough yet, that can actually be resolved.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, got some hope then.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's possible. And that's where the perfectionism is coming from.
Right.
So it's really weird. Like when you're a kid, you absorb information from the environment and it tells you who you are and how you should act in the world. If you're abused, you internalize the idea I'm a worthless piece of shit. Now I'm going to treat myself like a worthless piece of shit. If you're ignored, it's the same message. It's just a silent message. I'm worthless. I'm not lovable.
Yeah.
So then that's how you asked me about Freud. Yes, it's a Freudian concept, the super ego.
That's it. Yeah. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. But then you have a schedule of going, okay, it might be years, but at least there is a way out. At least there is a way of
there's some like light at the end of the tunnel almost.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it takes years of work. And it's like with the gym, like a lot of people don't want to do the healing work because it's so hard and painful. Like it's scary. Like when I'm in therapy, like so much stuff comes to the surface and it's hard to talk about. And I feel like the more therapy you do, the more of that stuff comes to the surface. And it's not easy to talk about at all. And you've actually got to want to help yourself. And some people just think, oh, it's fine. I can just, go about my life and get on with it. And then that's when it all comes out and it gets even worse then.
It shouldn't be painful. If you do like 10 sessions, maybe like half an hour of one session would probably be painful, but really it shouldn't.
Really?
Yeah, it shouldn't hurt. No.
Wow.
No, the way I do it and the way that I have my coaches do it, Steve and Terry, we say to people like it shouldn't, but it's a very common held belief. Like we're trained to think, oh, if I'm doing therapy, I'll be crying and snot will come out, and then you lie on the floor but no, usually it's quite conversational, because in order to understand the emotion and in order to understand the experience, you don't have to re-experience it again.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't. I think it's like a religious thing that we've got from maybe like the Christian, like exorcism, like a demon, and you're gonna be like, oh, flipping out, vomiting, and no, it becomes. You probably will cry at some point, but you wouldn't be upset. You'd just be sad. Okay. So you start to grieve. But yeah, generally speaking, it shouldn't hurt. I've spoken to people recently and offered them to do therapy, and they've run a mile because they think it's going to hurt. Right. Or they think it's going to be something where they'll be like humiliated or put through an undignified experience. But generally speaking, it's pretty gentle. It's conversational. Okay. Yeah.
See, with my therapist, like she's very like, you need to feel emotions, because I can be very like emotionless. Like when I talk about my past and what happened and stuff, I'm very just dissociative of it. I'm like, that wasn't me, that was someone else almost. And she's like, no, you need to sit with those feelings. You need to be sad. And I'm like, well, okay. What do you want me to do? Cry? Like,
she should just punch you in the face if she wants you to be miserable. You need to identify the emotions, but you don't need to re-experience them. Like if you say, okay, at 4 years old, I went through this. I don't know, maybe it was fine. And then we have a conversation about it. It's like, well, what's likely that you would have been feeling? You as an adult can point backwards in time and say, that child would have felt really, really sad and alone. And now I feel sad about that. But you don't have to re-experience being a 4-year-old and being about like, what the fuck? No,
I know there's no point.
There's no point. There's no point. And it's actually not, I think, I'm pretty sure it's like a hangover from Christianity, the work ethic that we used to have, like you should suffer, in order to get into the kingdom of heaven therapeutically, you have to go through pain and suffering, and you really don't. It shouldn't hurt. It doesn't. I don't think it needs to hurt. I've had good results with people because, well, you're not 4.
Yeah,
which is great.
True. Yeah,
which is it's fantastic. You're an adult and you're powerful. You can do something about it, and you can sit and you can just go, wow, that's sad. After the therapeutic sessions, you probably would be like, I feel a certain way about that. Mainly grieving, mainly sadness.
Yeah,
there's not too much shaking and weeping and.
I feel like you do have to grieve almost, because I feel sad for that like little girl that had to go through all that, and it's sad because there's nothing you can do because it's in the past. But it's hopeful in the fact that you can change it and work on yourself to be in a better position to give that little girl like the chance she deserved almost.
Definitely. Have you found any of that stuff from the past showing up in relationships?
Yeah.
Let's talk about
completely.
That for a moment.
Oh my God.
we're on to the home stretch. You're nearly there.
Like what I was talking to you yesterday about the anxious avoidant attachment style.
Do you think you have an anxious avoidance attachment style?
Well, the thing is, I thought I was very anxious, like very clingy. And the more I'm starting to do my research about the attachment styles, the more I'm realizing I'm avoidant with friends.
Yeah.
But I'm anxious in like dating, relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I was like, I didn't even know you could be both.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I'm not anxious with friends. I'm not clingy. I just want them to go away.
Yeah.
But with guys, I'm like, oh, why haven't they texted me back? Or what's going on? Stuff like that. And I found that like, with my dad leaving when I was very young, him being a male, I found that like with dating and relationships, it leads me back to that like abandonment and rejection, like fear. So if anything bad happens, it takes me back to like when I was that age.
Do you like emotionally distant men?
See, I seem to go for those ones, and I used to think I was like, oh, why is he emotionally unavailable? And I'm starting to realize that I must know subconsciously that they are emotionally unavailable. But I think it comes from the idea of I don't deserve to be loved, the whole idea of we accept the love we think we deserve. And I probably consciously do go for guys that are emotionally unavailable because I know it'll never work and I know I'll end up getting hurt, and that will validate my ideas of I'm not good enough because they didn't stay, which is not good.
I have a pet theory. I think what you said is accurate. I think there's another potential factor, which is from what I've observed in clients and with friends and my sister, quite frankly, is if as a little girl, your interactions with your father is him leaving. So you're always looking at the back of him and he's always walking away. That's what man is. All male intimate figures are away.
Yeah.
So if a male intimate figure is moving towards, you might feel disgusted.
Yeah.
You might be like, oh, like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you're supposed to be out the door.
Yeah.
I think so there's that. And then I think women are in a very, very vulnerable position, more vulnerable than men are, because female attachment strategies are more complicated than they are for men because the needs are different. You need a guy, you can't unfortunately just get with an extraordinarily handsome man because he could be a fucking bomb.
Yeah.
As many women have found. So there are some really good looking guys who are fucking useless. So you have to sort of test them and analyze them for other elements as well, because survivability of your children from male DNA won't just come down to how good looking he is. He also needs to be cunning, he needs to be hardworking, he needs to be smart, and so on. And so your attachment strategy is more complicated. This is a pet theory that drives some of my feminist followers completely insane. I think there's an association that's pre-civilization between emotionally distant men, borderline abusive men, and strength and survivability. Do you want your kids to be simps? Do you want your male offspring to be simps? No, you want them to be strong. What is strength? And that's where we get caught. And I don't think that's cultural. I think it's biological.
Okay.
A man is, we all want to say, oh, man is a homemaker. Actually, man for all of our evolution was a home leaver. They go out into the world. They fight. They're brave. They're courageous. They're risk takers. And what our hangover to that is today in modern civilization is the bad boy. Some guy with a leather jacket with a cigarette dangling outside his mouth. That's you, Jacob. The fascinating neck tattoo. That's you. I think it's a biological, it's an evolutionary hangover. Really nice guys are off-putting.
Yeah. But then I have a theory that all the nice guys are really nice because they're not very attractive. So the only thing that they, not for everyone, but you always see the attractive guys hurting girls because they can, and the nice guys are nice because they have to be, because they don't have anything else.
I'm fucking gutted. We've only got 14 minutes left. You've opened fucking Pandora's box here. I want to get panels in. Can we do that now? How many people could I have in to talk to at the same time? 5? 4?
In studio?
Yeah, me and 4.
Yeah.
We could do that, right? I want to get panels in to talk about this.
Oh God.
It's going to be great.
About which?
Relationships and love. For your generation, it's a fucking nightmare.
Oh, dating is just out the window.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. I spoke to Tyler on this on the podcast we did together, and I'm like, fucking hell, I feel sorry for people your age. It's an absolute nightmare. Did you just say that men who are nice are basically sluts with their niceness the way women could be with their sexuality? That's what I heard. Because they have to be, because they've got nothing else.
Well, if you think about it, like all the nice guys are never that attractive. I've never met a really attractive guy who's also really nice.
I fucking love this. I'm so sad we've only got 30 minutes left. You've never met a nice guy who was fit?
Nope. Well, dating them.
Yeah.
Like in a dating sense.
What do you mean?
As in, if I've gone on a date with a guy who's attractive, he's never been
nice
and ended up being nice.
So what's gleeful giggle from Richie? I love it. How are you defining nice?
Well, that's the thing for me, because I attract these like absent, emotionally unavailable men.
What?
Even I know, green flag.
I'm excited just at the way you described it. They sound fit to me.
Nice guys to me is just like, how are you? How's your day? I'm like, wow. He's just asked me how my day is. Is that okay? Is he normal?
What's wrong with him?
What's wrong with him? Like,
you fucking scumbag. I hope you never have children. You nice fuck.
But like, it's so uncommon. Like, because I I don't know if it's me or I attract like the wrong people, but I just never meet guys who genuinely are nice. And if they have been at first, it's been like love bombing, and then later down the line,
Torture.
you see who, yeah.
So you just said you've never met guys who are genuinely nice. So when we're talking about nice guys, we're talking about fake nice guys.
Yeah.
All. Are you saying there's when they're ugly, they're fake nice because they think that niceness is going to get them something?
Yeah, because their looks can't.
So they're not really nice then, are they?
Maybe I've just never met a nice guy. That might
Don't
be my
say
problem.
that. No. Now you're being nice. That was the womanly side of you kicking in. You're like, don't be mean. Don't be hierarchical. I think what you're saying is actually right. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had because we need to establish what is nice.
Yeah.
We need to establish why men are nice. I can put myself into a woman's mindset, even as a straight man. And if I'm thinking in a woman's mindset, nice in the way that you mean, makes me feel sick. It does. It makes me feel sick. And I was trying to explain this to a female friend of mine because she was laughing because I was like, nice just makes me feel sick if I'm thinking as a woman because it's fake.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want fake from a man. It's slimy. It's manipulative. And it's a biological response that I'm having because it's a false signal.
Yeah.
There was a video clip I like. It's on the internet. I'll find it. There's the alpha male lion is sat on a rock and there's 6 lionesses around him. And on a whim or some magic signal between them, they decide he's not the alpha male anymore. Like he's not doing his job anymore.
Oh, wow.
So they turn on him. It's a disturbing video clip. They bite his neck, his balls, and the sort of the sinew on the hind legs.
Yeah.
One of them gets her teeth into that.
Oh my God.
He's screaming.
Oh.
This lion is screaming, and the other lions run over, and I think, oh, they're all gonna like jump him now and just kill the alpha so that they can take his place. They saved him. The male lion saved the fake dethroned alpha from the lionesses. And he gets off the rock. He's no longer the alpha. There's no alpha in that pack now. And I thought about that for a few days because it really disturbed me, the sound of this fucking alpha male lion getting bitten to bits. Oh, it's a similar thing to that,
looks...
Go on, put the sound on. Let's traumatize the viewers at home.
Oh my goodness. I can't even watch Planet Earth because of stuff like this.
It's not this video because he's actually up on a rock, but it's the same scenario. So they're not trying to kill him, but they're communicating to him, you don't have the status you had anymore.
Okay.
So they're doing the same thing. Lionesses control strength. And so here's my mad theory. Like what you've just said, we can't get into it because we've got no time. Women have a very large responsibility.
Okay.
As a woman, you're controlling the future of humanity and you're a gatekeeper and you can't let weakness through. Or you shouldn't. You can, and women do, but you shouldn't. So the DNA, the strength of the DNA is through your selection. So it's your job to kill fake alphas.
Okay.
This also, at the time, I'd been through a very bad relationship and it got horrible. When I was thinking about this and I saw this video, I felt like there was a primal hatred in women for male weakness. They really, really are repulsed by it. In the dating scene, not in the therapeutic scene because it doesn't work like that. But in dating, everything gets a bit primitive and biological. Yeah. And I was like, this is why. Because you're going to choose whose DNA you manifest in the world as a portal. And that's a big responsibility. The future of humanity lies in women's hands. So there has to be a checking of who is actually genuinely strong and who isn't.
Yeah.
It creates terrible controversy because it's not fair. It's not nice. But like some lads you don't find attractive, and some lads like physically attractive, and some lads you don't find psychologically and character-wise attractive because they're expressing weakness. Yeah. Their face isn't symmetrical. They're genetically. And they're being fake nice. That's weak.
The fake nice thing, I just think, why are you being nice to me? What are you gaining from that? Do you know what I mean? There's even without dating, I think like if people are just nice to me, I'm like, okay, you want something from me? Yeah. Because you're being nice.
Beyond manners, you mean? Like people should be nice to you, right?
Yeah, I just think in my past, if people have been nice, they've needed something from me or stuff. So I'm very like wary if people are nice to me. And then I think later down the line, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what you wanted. Or
Right.
like, that's what your intentions were with being nice, stuff like that.
So there could be a little bit of a counter-dependency issue there. You're very distrustful.
Yeah, oh, yeah, completely.
Is it only when men are nice to you or when women are nice to you as well?
Mainly men, but also women as well. Like I don't
Okay.
have many friends regardless. So I think, but with men, it's like more prominent.
If a man is being nice to you, you think it's never sincere.
No.
It's usually because they want something.
Yeah.
And what they want is your trainers. No, it's not.
They
What
want my legs. They want my big legs.
What they want, they're like, I need some glute training sessions, and I just don't want to pay full price. Yeah, no, there's a very, very strong impulse in men, I think, as well, when they want sex and they don't have an awful lot going on, which is what I found interesting about what you said, is they have to be nice because they don't have anything else.
Exactly.
It's a fawn response in terms of a trauma response. They're triggered into trading niceness for hoped for future sexual contact.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's very manipulative, but I think the whole dating scene is anyway, and that's why I'm just like,
Oh, it's monstrous.
not.
It's monstrous. If you want to
I'd rather not.
If you want to see the worst of what humanity has to offer, it's in the dating scene.
I think now it's just there's no hope at all.
No, abandon hope. Abandon hope.
No.
That's what Nietzsche said to do. Hope is the worst of all things. It prolongs the suffering of man. No, I think it can be rehabilitated, but you really you need somebody who's culturally deconditioned. But you do have there is, I think, across all ages at the moment, there is like a little bit of a spontaneous ground up revolution that's growing in impetus, where people are realizing like we can't do what we've been doing. There are certain like coordinates that just don't fucking work. And if we keep trying to do it this way, well, the population is going to crash.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to have kids.
Exactly.
Do you know your generation's having less sex than any other generation?
Doesn't surprise me. Like, I don't want kids. I know most people I know don't want kids either.
It's counterintuitive to me because when I was in the 2000s, I was working in schools. Wow, that's how old I am. The people I was working with would be 10 years older than you. Fucking hell. But they were kids then. And they had phones, which was weird to me. Like, I was like, wow, you've all got phones in school in 2005, 2006. But they all had porn on their phones. It was before like proper streaming, and they'd share like porn.
Oh my God, this
it's
2005.
It's a long time
Wow.
ago. So they like text each other porn and stuff. And then it got more and more and more. And then I was out at the schools and I was like, okay, this means that the children will be hypersexualized from an early age. And then we're just going to have loads of illegitimate children. But the opposite thing happened. People speak with all the porn that was there. People just stopped they lost the ability to have sex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because they weren't confident with approaching women
in real
face-to-face.
life. And they don't, what porn does to the male brain is the subject to loads of scientific research, but it switches off the parts of the male brain where males feel like they need to, because they're like, well, there's a part of, apparently, it's different for women than it is for men. Apparently for men, there's a part of the brain that goes, I just had sex.
Oh, wow.
It actually registers as a successful sexual contact. So after the guy has wiped himself down and stopped crying over how pitiful he is, he then, part of his brain goes, I'm satiated now. And then so your generation, I was discussing this with Tyler, they don't approach, like men don't approach women in real life. I think that's partly like we've gotten a little bit hysterical about like invading each other's privacy and potential sexual assault, and that like a smile could be a microaggression or something like that. So that's also politicized it a lot, which makes it a problem. But yeah, it's porn, I think, is a big part of it. And then you have, what I've noticed is when women who've watched an awful lot of porn, they're very not confident in the bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they start thinking sex is, because porn is sort of a series of, there's cameras in a weird artificial room like this. You hit a position, it's more like training in the gym.
Yeah.
Hit this position, hit this position, hit this position.
It's not like real life at all, is it?
There's no intimacy.
Absolutely not.
It's bereft of intimacy. To the point where if you introduce intimacy into the sexual contact, they actually get freaked out.
Yeah. Like, what do I do?
What the fuck is this? Stop being nice. What is it? It's I'd definitely like to get you back on if you're up for it. I want to get like a
definitely.
mixed panel, and we'll just go through this, and you can tell them your monstrous theory, you brutal misandrist. I didn't realize how much you hated men, but I've outed you now of why nice guys are nice. Which I really
I'm gonna get so
enjoyed
much hate for this.
that. Enjoy it. Listen, I've really enjoyed talking to you. I hope that people got something from that, and that they will contact you if boys or girls want to contact you to get training and advice. Where should they do that?
Instagram.
Instagram?
Just message me.
Just message
Always happy
you?
to help.
What is your Instagram handle?
Amira ISPT, but my name is like mad.
My name is Mad. Just put in MAD and I'll be there with a blunt and shade.
Most people don't know how to spell my name or even pronounce it.
If you go to my Instagram and see who I'm following and put in Amira, Amira,
On screen as well.
put it on
Okay,
screen.
there you
Jacob's
go.
going to do
That's
it.
easier.
It's not the 1920s. We've got Jacob's like that. We can actually put this on screen. We can put it in the description, guys. Calm down.
For all your followers.
Go and see who I'm stalking on Instagram and you'll find Amira. Well, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
You too. Thank you for having me.
And I'd love to get you in again. I'd love to get you in for the panel and stuff, which would be good fun.
I'd love to.
And I hope everything goes well for you with the personal trainer.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, folks, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. And I look forward to speaking to you next time.